Okay, may I have everybody's attention? Jen, you ready to start? Thank you. Before I officially bring this meeting to order, I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank everybody here. I haven't been here for the last 3 months, and I'm going to try not to cry. But anyhow, thank you for your support, your thoughts, and your prayers. And with an extra big thank you to Mr. VP over here, Chad, for taking over. I understood they were rubber bullets and not the real thing like it's on. So I'm happy he's still sitting next to me today. And just these last 3 months have been real difficult. But my mother she decided a long time ago, she wasn't going to leave this earth until she turned 91. And she did pass away on her 91st birthday. And it was difficult and it was hard, but she had a mission and she accomplished that mission. And so, but now she's been laid to rest and she's at peace. Unfortunately, though, our father took it very hard and he's 90 years old, but we did turn a second corner with him. As of yesterday, he's been in the hospital for 3 weeks. And so it was a little touch and go there for a while, but today was the first day that he literally could drink water. So he was going through a great deal. And my sister was there this afternoon to watch him do that. And so, but there's gonna be a lot of physical therapy. And the doctor said he can have a full recovery, but it's going to be up to him. He's very feisty and giving everybody a bad time at the hospital. He wants his shoes so he can go home. And but we had a long talk yesterday, and he knows what the ground rules are. You need to behave, you need to behave, and you need to behave, and follow all of those instructions. So, but it's still going to be quite some time before he gets back home. But it gives us enough time to make sure that everything is ready for us to bring him home with double duty caregiving like we have from our mom. But again, just wanted to bring everybody up to date and just thank everybody for your support. Very lucky to have people like you in my life. So thank you. Now, enough of that, let me call this meeting to order. Good evening and welcome to the Duluth Community Services regular meeting of the Board of Directors on this day, August 16th, 2023. This meeting is now called to order. I'd like to do roll call. Mr. Bone.
Here.
Carol. Here. D'Alessandri.
Here.
Rawson. Here. And Roberts is here. If you'll all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I think we have a baseball player missing, Mr. Sam.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I got a text from Sam last night, I believe, and he's been exposed to COVID.
Oh.
And he's got symptoms. So
Okay.
he will not be with us tonight, and he's been put off duty by the sheriff's department
Okay.
through this week because they don't want him around anybody.
Oh, certainly.
So he's at home, and he's not feeling very well, not too bad, but
Okay.
it looks like he may have something. That, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't. I was getting, that's when I walked up here.
All right. Okay. Well, we hope that he'll be on the mend very quickly and get back here and join our meetings. Okay, moving on to public comments. Isabel, do we have anybody on Zoom today? No visitors today. Okay, very good. Then we're going to move right along. Agenda item D for information only. The following items are intended for information purposes only, and they include the financial statements and statement of investment policy. Directors, any comments or questions? No. Okay, very good. Let's move on. Agenda item E, consent calendar. And this includes the minutes of July 19th, 2023 of our regular board meeting. Number 2 is general fund claims for July 2023. And 3 is the sheriff's special tax claims for July 2023. And the last one, there were no purchase orders. Directors, any questions? Do I have a motion to approve? A second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Bowman?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
D'Alessandri? Rawson? Aye. Roberts? Aye. Unanimously approved. Thank you, everybody. Okay, moving smartly. Agenda item F, legislative topic, Mr. Emmons.
This would be Cyrus. Is he there? Or Cyrus our lobby?
Yes.
I am here.
I'll defer to Mr. Devers here.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you. So my report is brief. If you follow my last report, the legislature just came back on August 14th. So we haven't even been back a full week yet into session. However, there was action on SB 613 with CRTO, our bill that we're doing, that happened today. And this is something I covered earlier in the year, but the bill went on what's called the suspense file. This is the most hated part of the legislative process. The suspense file is the fiscal committee of each house, the appropriations committee. They have this special file, and any bills that they project might cost above a certain amount get put to the suspense file and dealt with on one day. We survived it in the Senate, and we're not entirely helpless. We can talk to people, but in fact, this all kind of happens behind the scenes. Leadership makes their decisions, and then we all gather on one day and we hear the results announced as to which bills get to keep moving. So that said, I've had a good meeting with the consultant for the committee. I kind of got a little bit lucky, and it was assigned to someone that I've known for well over a decade. So we were able to have a very robust conversation and back and forth. And mainly, I just had to convince her that what she was reading was in fact true. It's like, yes, this really is that trivial. It really is about, they simply did not report their waste tonnage to this particular file. They reported it over to this file. And yes, that's the issue. She just took a little, convincing that this was real. And after that, she says, okay, I got it. Again, she couldn't keep it off of suspense because, in fact, in theory, we don't know how many entities this will actually apply to. It could theoretically apply to more. We actually have not been able to identify any others. We thought we were going to hear about one, but that kind of faded away. So, but they have to score it based on what it might and how it might impact the budget. So it went on suspense, but she did not buy the Cal Recycle arguments that we saw in the Senate, where they needed another person and they were going to have to redo their regs. That was going to be $250,000, and any employee costs probably $120,000 to $150,000 a year. So Cal Recycle had some really extravagant cost projections. They did it again, but that's not what the bill went on suspense, and they're being disregarded. The rest is up to Senator Ciarto. He has to express his priorities to the committee, but he has been on top of this. He's been great. His staff has been on top of it. He has been prioritizing this bill throughout the process. So I can never make a promise, but my gut tells me this is looking really good. I think we are again going to move forward despite this, black box process that we all hate. But like I said, good amount of credit goes to Senator Ciarto. He's stayed on top of this, and he has expressed his desire to have this bill, move above, even if it means some of his other bills don't move. So that's where we are. I expect suspense will be decided on Friday, September 1st. If I'm wrong, it will be decided on Thursday, August 31st. The reason there's the first is actually the deadline, but that's a holiday weekend, it's Labor Day weekend. So if they think they can get away with it, they'll do their heavy lifting on Thursday, have a quick session on Friday, and get out of town and enjoy the weekend. So 31st of the 1st, I will keep you posted as soon as I know for sure. That's what's going on at this moment. So now we kind of go into the tunnel and we see if we come out at the other end of the tunnel at the end of August.
And Jen?
Yeah, thank you. Cyrus, I actually held up what I'm about to say to this meeting because we've got all three players and the board all here at the same time. One time, you sent me an email the end of last week talking about how we don't know how many agencies are affected And we do, I think. And the attorney from Sacramento, we had lunch, dinner.
Joanne?
Joanne, oh yeah. Remember, and you don't know this, Cyrus, I don't think. She did a public record search on Cal Recycle a year ago. And got everything related to the rural exemption. And there were 6. And we looked at all 6's website, 5, and we were 1. 5 out of the 6 capitulated and went ahead and did the program.
Okay.
So I think we've got pretty good evidence that we are the only district affected right now. So why do you need a person for 187,000 to supervise our exemption? Is pretty ridiculous. And that's why it's stuck in appropriations, right? Is because they're making a money issue out of this. Right? Am I right? Am I understanding correct?
Well, you are, except that it probably would have gone on suspense anyway, just because of the budget situation. It changes every year, and the suspense level is actually very low this year. So the consultant just was not, she says, look, I'm not buying their arguments, but we think it probably meets the suspense threshold anyway, and even then she acknowledged this is kind of like a once every 5-year thing. So she got it. She said, she couldn't tell me not to worry. It's just not allowed. But her voice, her body language, everything she could, she was trying to communicate. Yeah, I think you guys are going to be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, anyway, if you need that information, Joanna,
Right.
we have it somewhere here in our files because we worked on it for a period of time. But she's kind of the expert on this.
Joanna would have it too.
Okay, I could look at that. Now, it has to be something we can prove. In other words, we have to be able to have someone to show there is absolutely only 6 that could. If we could say that,
That's why it's got to go to Joanna.
Yeah.
Because she's the one who did the public records request. And we
Yeah.
basically got all their internal emails regarding the rural exemption.
Mhm.
I'm sure they didn't like that we got them. And so anyway, maybe she can just shoot it over to you and you can kind of look at it. If you want to, it's up to you. I just want to.
it's never a question of do we want to? Of course we do, because we never know. So and like I said, I'm sitting here, I'm telling you, I can't guarantee this. It's like everything in my experience says we've done what we should do and we're in good shape, but we never relax until we see that bill come off suspense. So I'll take whatever I got.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. All righty, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. So I can't be there in person.
Okay, next time.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right. Okay, very good. Okay, moving on. Agenda G, Investment Council California Local Agency Investment. Robert?
Yeah, thank you. I thought we would do this on the finance committee, but that's quite all right. One place or another doesn't much matter. This basically, we have a bank account at Banner. And we originally approached them to do T-bills there, but they really can't do it. So we went to Chase. Chase is able to do that. And what we need is this resolution so that we can move money into Chase.
Okay.
Is that adequately describe it?
Perfect.
Right to the point. Okay. Consideration of resolution number 2023-12, authorizing investment of monies in the local agency investment fund. Any questions, directors? None? Motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, and do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Jeff? All in favor? Bowman?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
D'Alessandri? Rawson? Aye. Roberts? Aye. Unanimously approved. Thank you. Agenda item H, sheriff's contract renewal. Mr. Ammons?
Well, each year, we have we renew the contract with the sheriff's department, which is now, we've done it tonight. We are contracting with Riverside County and the and their sheriff's department for one 8-hour per day, 5-day a week a deputy, and that happens to be occupied by Sam right now. So this approval of this contract will continue the sheriff's service that we're receiving. And Sam so far is still our deputy, so
Yes.
so it would just be appropriate to make a motion to approve the sheriff contract for the fiscal year 23-24.
Okay,
And
all righty, do I have a motion to approve?
Yes, make a motion.
Okay, Chuck, thank you, and do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Gina. Thank you, all in favor, Bowman?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
D'Alessandri? Lawson? Roberts, aye. Unanimously approved. Thank you. Nice and easy. Wow, moving along. Okay, agenda I, storm drain improvement project, Bob.
Thank you so much, Debbie. So basically, I think at 2 meetings ago, we authorized the storm drain project to go out to bid, accept the plans, and authorized them to go out to bid. So we did our bid period, and we did publicly open the bids via Zoom meeting and in person on August 3rd. We received 2 bids on the project right now, and unfortunately, after looking at the bids, they came in extremely high. I think the average was around like low bid came in around $614,000 above our engineer's estimate. And there were 2 bids, and I do have that's all in the staff report in there. They came in around $931,000 and a little under 1.2 million basically. So we took the bids and analyzed them, and just the prices were higher than we've ever seen. We did have a lot of interest in the project at first, but only 2 bidders ended up pursuing this. And basically, just from what we've been seeing, a lot of the contractors are rushing for the rainy season right now, and they're all booked up. So we've seen a lot of our cities that we work with at Wilden has basically been seeing that when these contractors are getting too busy, they basically just throw up a wild card potential and see if someone's willing to take it. So that's one of the things that we've been just seeing. It's happening right now just because of how hard the rainy season was. Everyone's just busy trying to fix everything before the next one. But we also saw there's another item that we discussed about trying to rush the project to get it done before the rainy season. Had that kind of forced us, the fiscal year starts in June, and that's when we can start using this one. And then we condensed the project schedule a little bit to see if we can get this all done before the rainy season. My opinion would be, if we look through the projects and none of them, and even though these storm drains have been there for the last 50 years, the way these projects were identified as some of the items of need of concern that might be a little more difficult. So that's why we tried to put this out before. But in my opinion, I think we could wait. Just the amount of money we obviously weren't expecting it to come in this high. So my opinion is that we wait until after the rainy season and put it out to bid, like sometime around then, just to see if we can get a better price and extend that schedule. And a lot of the contractors will be coming off into a better space and a little less crowded. We kind of got into this cycle of trying to get everything done before. But with that said, I think we will, it is my opinion that we will get a better price if we do go out to bid later and basically increase that project schedule. Because the big issue is when they rush that schedule, anyone can rush the schedule, but then they have to get extra crews, they have to get extra overtime in, and it's just multiple operations going at once, and that creates an issue. And a lot of the bigger companies that we noticed didn't bid on this. I think that's the biggest reason on that. Not to say I know all of them, but this is the first bid we received from them, and it did come in extremely high. Just looking at the prices, it looks like their storm drain prices were really high just because of everyone's rushing to get them right now. So, with that said, basically I just start with I think we should table this for now and then see if we can go out to bid later. And during that time, if something else comes up that we wanted to change course, we could always do that. But if we want to try and get a better bid, I think we could wait till after the rainy season.
Okay, so no particular rain 1 or 2 top five need to be addressed here soon, or?
So they're all, obviously, they're all in need of repair. We did, there were two that were identified, basically, and I was gonna get into next. They're on Via Tornado down right by the district line. Really is about two houses connected to that, but right now is a steel plate on there, and the steel plate has some initial signs of settling and failure. So we did identify those as kind of the highest priority on the list. We did, looking at the way we broke out the bids, is broken out by site. The bid for that specific site was gonna be about $106,000. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to just pick and choose, just one project and take it out. So for us to just do that one project, we'd have to take out the bid because it's about the 50,000. But after talking and with the benefit of having Raj on board and the district and the maintenance crew has been doing such a good job, and they're getting the new skills based on the training and all the equipment, which I don't want to go into. I think that's something that's going to be talked about later, but there's definitely, it's given us more options to test our crew and see what we can do. So Raj has kind of discussed that he thinks that it's possible that we can do, if anything, at the minimum, a temporary repair that would hold us over. And if you may remember, we did the same thing on Via Vaquero, just a temporary repair, that just to get something there so we could open up the traffic and get it backfilled. Right now, all the backfill, the pipes bottoms are completely corroded, which forwards a lot of the backfill to wash out, and that's why that steel pipe started to settle. So as long as we can at least get those pipes, get new pipes reset in there, and I believe we may have some in the yard. We're gonna try and entertain everything. We're still just exploring that option to see what our crew can do and what we need to get subs on, but I think we can handle this as a maintenance job right now. For a temporary repair, see how it comes out. So that's what Rod is working with the maintenance crew over there. So I think they're gonna explore that option, and the only thing I know for sure is it's gonna be much cheaper than 106,000. We don't have the exact price. We're gonna need someone to come in and help with just a little item like a potential paving on the slope. So I think this is a really good opportunity to see, not only is it a good opportunity to get this one fixed, but also to help the crew train with while we still have Raj to kind of help them. And if emergency things like this come up, we can always try to use them as best as possible. But that's just, it was all discussed in the committee meeting, and we think this might be the best course of action based on the discussion. But yeah, that's what we're gonna, I think the route we're choosing to go, or route we're recommending to go, but that was the only one that stood out as it should be done right now. Nothing else seems like survived that last rainy season. So you know, it's the good thing about the rainy season. It cleaned out a lot of the pipes, so we can do what we can. But right now, this was the one that was the highest priority. So we want to at least try and take care of that if we can.
As Ron mentioned, we discussed that in length at the committee meeting last week, and we agreed with staff in the committee meeting that it should probably be addressed so that we don't risk a major failure there. But with it being in the scope of a maintenance item as opposed to a reconstruction item, it's not really something that we need to bring to the board, I don't believe, for approval, since that's in our maintenance budget, but we want the board to be aware of it. And it has we have the opportunity with it to further prove out our own internal work and see if we may want to move more that direction in the future.
Okay, so very good. Good plan. Thank you.
That's it's unfortunate news on that one, but that it's, you know, you never know what a project's actually worth until we look at the bid. And I've never seen one that came in that much higher than you guys have been. So either the misinterpretation of the plan or the schedule was condensed. So that's what we're trying to make sure.
One thing, there's not a resolution here, but the board's gonna have to take an official action to reject the bids.
Correct.
So
Yes.
we would need a motion. I guess the motion would be to approve the staff recommendation
Mhm.
to reject the bids, because we did the full-on public bidding, right?
Okay.
Correct. Thank you
So
for.
I'm not sure what the phrasing of that motion is, but you've got it in your staff report. I think next time, but you don't see this, it's not.
No.
I was gonna
No.
say.
So,
it's
yeah.
Kind of
Some
rare.
are floating around and, as one of your cities or whatever, is a resolution to reject all.
Just, yeah,
Okay.
move to reject the storm drain improvement project at this time. Correct? Okay, so let's see, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, Bowman?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
D'Alessandro? Rawson? Roberts, aye, unanimously approved. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Buena Vista.
All right, me again. So I did put together a presentation. I know we're all looking forward to the day that we can get the final red tape cut on this one. I know at last meeting, we were expecting to be done basically by the time this meeting came up. Unfortunately, we added extra scope to the project and to work with Rancho Water. Now, this is all, when I say extra scope, it's just items that we're working with the water department basically to add in, because while the water pipe was exposed and everything, it was a good opportunity for Rancho Water to use this contract at the time to get that water line fixed, to provide proper water service and proper water pressures that haven't been available while the washout was happening. So basically, we're about at the time we've been backfilling. You've seen the last picture, but pretty much, I say we're 90% done in the original scope of work. We have all the backfill in now, and we've been working, all the head walls are in, the pipes are in as of last meeting. But the last item was to get the water line in. Unfortunately, talking with Rancho Water, even though, we're working with them, they're very strict on their 3-week notice process. So there was basically a 3-week gap where we weren't allowed to do anything to the water line. We weren't allowed to fill in that hole that was created by that. So that's what kind of put us back. We had to add a couple working days in the contract, which were originally going to be put in the contract under the original working days, even though it was added scope. Now we decided we have to add that 3 weeks in there, and it looking like the end of August with the acceptance of the project. And you'll see in the pictures here that everything, it's right there. We got all the backfill in, and we're just ready to, the only snag was getting that water line. Now we got everything backfilled in, but you'll see here in the pictures, right here, this is where they were starting to just dig everything up for the water line. They had to place everything to secure it before putting it back in. For working on the water line, basically, it was the best order of operations. So then you go to the next picture. There they have the water line all on pipe. That was all secured. That was all furnished and delivered basically by Rancho Water under their contract. And just to give a little insight on that, we're tracking everything that's done for the water line, including any of the trenching, the backfill, as a separate, almost like a separate contract, so it doesn't get mixed up with all the money that we have in our project. It's no cost to us, just basically something we're doing to help out with Rancho Water. We have a pretty good relationship with them, and it's better when you all get everything, all the projects working together. So that's where we got all the water pipes and all the fittings that are required for that. And you go to the next slide. Here's them using the equipment to basically put the pipe in the trench. And then next slide. There you can see they have the trench dug out now, and they have a couple people down there just laying the pipe. Next slide. And it is, yes. And then here you go, that's just them getting the valves properly installed and just making sure all the fittings are on properly. So next slide. And there was, I believe, a Rancho Water inspector on site at all times, just making sure the pipe is installed properly so that they don't have any, they don't want anything going around, anyone touching their pipes without them out there. So they're out all the time. Here's just another picture of the trench there. It's pipe going in. This is the major work item. This is pretty much the last item as far as backfilling everything. And then here is the guy taking off the steel plate. That thing is it's a pressurized pipe, of course. So that's not the easiest job. Right now they just have it plugged, and to get the pipe reconnected, you have to unplug it basically. So that's what they're down there doing. The next slide. Here's them connecting that last piece right there. You can see the trench has been backfilled all the way up to there. And then next slide. There we go. They've backfilled everything. They're just throwing the water. It's basically water so they can compact it, and then also a dust control measure. And then if you go to the next slide, you can see basically everything is sitting there waiting basically for us to pave over the road. So I don't know. We remember what it looked like 8 months ago, and there was a giant hole there. Now we're looking at almost 95% of just the roadway being completed. So I know it's been a long process, but we are just about there. Rob has been making sure that they're working everything out there, and excited to say that we're right at the finish line on this one. Just one last little obstacle, and then we're expecting everything by the end of August. They'll be walking through. And everything, you know, they're on, I just want to kind of commend, you know, everything seems to be going per schedule and, they've been doing self-payment and doing a great job, even though, you know, a lot of contractors would have complained during that, suspension about trying to get more money and keeping their erosion control, but, they've been great to work with on this, so I will say that, it's been good with that, and Roger's definitely been, making sure we're doing everything, and everything looks right now like it's going, according to contract schedule and cost, but, you know, they did have to import a lot of extra fill, but there was also extra items that are canceling out, so right now we're close to that balance, so right now, but, the final invoice will be coming in, that's when we'll have a better idea, but right now, everything looks like we're saying on schedule and on cost, so.
That's gonna rain next week.
What's that? The rain, did it rain out here like
Yes.
3 days ago or something? It was raining up by me. I just, we can't.
The hurricane, no.
Yeah, the hurricane is coming in, so. The good thing is, the pipe is fully operational now, so there won't be, yes, just in the nick of time, but, yes, I did hear about this, Hillary, right? But, yes, we hope. We'll see, but the good news is, you know, we're monitoring everything, and they've had erosion control on that site for a while now, and they, trust me, they don't wanna let anything wash away, so they will be making sure. Just,
Wow, I mean.
So you're not gonna come back and say, well, it rained, so now we have to wait another month. I see.
I still hope not, I don't know what happened to me anymore. I'm trying here, no, but the good news is with the pipe being fully operational right now, it is, the stream will be fully operational, unless we get some.
Don't even go.
Yes, I don't know what to talk about it. But no, it is fully operational, it's fully designed, I know it's in good shape, we actually added capacity by increasing the slope, so.
Mhm.
I'm fully confident that, with the contract with erosion control and everything that goes on, we'll be in good shape.
And if we keep on track with the rest of the, work that's been proposed, hopefully we won't have any more of these.
That's the goal, for sure, so it's better to work ahead and wait for this to happen, so it's always a good reminder of why we do these maintenance activities, this is the perfect reminder, I guess,
Oh,
so.
no, absolutely. Okay, well, I'll make sure that champagne stays on ice.
Yes, please do.
You know, we'll take this off the agenda
Yes.
and we'll open up that champagne and celebrate.
Thank you so
Well
much.
done, and what a project. Thank you. I bet you can't wait. Okay, moving on, agenda item K. Mr. Steve.
See you.
Thank you.
Just a quick update tonight. There you go. Next slide. So we talked about this, the last meeting, we have one sign up, we have the other three, we're still waiting for that county permit. We'll get those up as soon as that comes through. Making progress with the county. I got them to approve the edge lines on Duluth Road. So if you know from Cameron, I believe, all the way down to the San Diego line, regional edge lines, and also from Rancho Palo North, all the way to the dirt road, there's no edge line. So the engineer issued the work order last week. He said, don't quote me, but he said, of course, you see, I didn't quote him. Hopefully in the next 4 to 6 weeks, but no weather issues, well, that we'll get in and get those painted. So we're looking forward to that. We, you know, as we told you before, we gave TJ a bunch of stuff to do. He looked a little bored, you know. So he's got all but maybe a few done, like that in the last few weeks. So it's been real good getting those up to date. Property owners were caught up with about all but 4. So we're working with those 4 and we'll do re-inspections on those. This is our latest issue. We have a couple of these in town, so we're working with Raj and Ron and looking at options that we can look at. Because what we've been told so far is that Rancho Cal says the water is not chlorinated, so it's not a leak from one of their pipes or anything like that. So if this is an underground stream of some sort or wherever that's popping up, it's gonna be likely ours to have to deal with, so. We're gonna have to first want to confirm, I think, that this isn't chlorinated water before we investigate too much more time and effort into it. But otherwise, yeah, we're gonna have to start coming up with something, because can't have this happening on a regular basis. It deteriorates the road pretty quickly when things start popping up like that, so. So that's coming in the future.
Steve, do you have a feel for when these began to show up? Was it the wet season this past year, or were they there previously?
Well, the last one did on Sandia Creek. That's why it was kind of weird. Like, was this because maybe the groundwater, rose? But as Ron mentioned in the meeting, was this is the top of almost a friggin' hill, so hard to believe the groundwater is that high. But who knows what's happening on that. The other one's
No, it hasn't
the other one on
rained.
Concho has been going on for years. So it's not a function of recent rains.
I was through there today. It's as bad as it's ever been. and
Yeah,
getting worse.
it's a steady stream, unfortunately, and that, so, that definitely is gonna be a little trickier to figure out how to resolve that one.
But it hasn't rained in so long. Why we have to do some of these things? If it's not Rancho, what would we do? What?
Well, like I said, Concho is continuing, it's been
Right,
continuous.
understand.
The new one, why it popped up, don't know. That's why we gotta look at it, see if it's, not sure what else it could be, like was mentioned, it's, well, what if it's a broken water line on a resident's property or something, but if that's chlorinated water, Rancho out there, they would have been able to tell us that, yeah, it's not our water pipe that's broken, but somebody's water pipe broken, but they said it wasn't chlorinated water, so.
The other thing is well water.
No water?
Could be something related to irrigation as well. That wouldn't be fluoride.
That's one of the times we did a survey of the whole community of all the existing ones. We got them all ordered and delivered. So now it's just a matter of we'll be scheduling those in the coming months to replace them so that all the signs have the accurate direction, whether it's a soft curve or a hard curve, and the appropriate speeds. So like that. So that's coming soon. We also have set up with Rex, our GIS guy, to do an inventory of all the signs. So if a sign goes down, or there's any need to go back and record, say what was here or there, when was it there, all that kind of stuff like that. We have that ability now to put that all in our inventory. So we'll be doing that collection hopefully in the coming months also. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. Agenda item L, road maintenance and field crew report. Mr. Castle.
All righty, thank you. So before I get started here, we actually have a surprise for you guys. So we, after the board meeting, decided to bring it down instead of throwing pictures up in the presentation. So that way you guys can get an actual look, for yourself instead of pictures.
Okay.
But that would be after the meeting.
Okay.
Anyways, I'll get started here. We had a tree down on Sandia Creek. It was in the, off to the side of the road into like the turnout. So we were able to keep the road open. We didn't have to close it down or anything. So we went ahead and cut it up and got it all checked up out of the way. So that way we turn around, we back up and everything's all good. Next slide, please. We did some asphalt patching. Got the edge of the roadway kind of getting ate up a little bit. So we threw our patch down and compacted it to make it level with the existing asphalt. Next slide, please. Weed abatement. I know that's a pretty huge topic right now. In front of you guys, I actually provided a map. Orange is what we were doing. We were doing 5 feet, but we decided to take extra precautions and extend it to 12 feet. So we did bring out Dylan Dixon to give us a hand with his excavator. So that way he's able to extend his arm out and basically shave as far back as he can. So that's what's in green highlighter. So that's mean it's been hit in 12 feet back. And then if you see where it's like orange and green on the same line, that means we hit it and we also brought Dylan back to that area to push it back. Next slide, please. Sign maintenance, this was part of Steve's list that he gave us. We had some signs that were leaning over, like this one. It was on a wood post, starting to lean into the bushes over there. So we pulled that out of the ground, swapped the post out with a metal post, and threw it back in the ground, nice and straight. Next slide, please. We had all these palm fronds on Vista Del Mar washed into our culvert here, so we went ahead and pulled those out. So that way, when the rain does come back, it'll just flow right in where it's supposed to go and not get clogged up and basically the water stay on the road and it cause potholes and stuff. Other than that, that's it for me. Any questions?
Very good.
All right, thank you.
Agenda item M, committee reports and our engineering committee report.
On last Tuesday, August the 8th, we did have our regularly scheduled engineering meeting. You've seen and heard the reports we saw and heard then, so we won't go back into those. But the ongoing work of the maintenance crew and the engineering crew here is quite impressive, and I'm very impressed with it. Jimmy, do you have anything to add from?
No, I was very pleased that they decided to move the weeding back even further. I think that was a really good idea.
Yeah.
To 12 feet. So I thought that was great.
And for anyone who may be watching this in the future or listening, the surprise that's coming up is our new truck, and that delivered, it's very impressive, and it's going to be a great help.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Finance committee report.
Finance meeting met yesterday, and just a few things. Our general fund, not general fund, LAIF fund is at about 3%. T-bills were over 5%. We're going to do another T-bill next week. That's why it was important to get that to the resolution. The other thing that I'm going to ask Teresa to talk a little bit about is the FEMA report. And maybe you as well. There's a component to this which is kind of interesting. So maybe you wanna-
Seems that's a little mysterious.
So, we're waiting for, the rest of our FEMA money, basically for Sandia Creek. We went in, they wanted a bunch of environmental kind of an audit, we did. Everything got approved for it. About 600,000, that project, they still owe us for. So everything looks good, everything's been approved. However, the Tonga Indians contacted FEMA, Cal OES, and said, we want to review what's going on with that project. So what FEMA, Cal OES said to them, they said, well, they followed all the environmental that they were required, and the project's complete. So if you're want to, it's done. So they need to respond back to Pechanga in a letter, which they're going to do. So right now, that's the really only thing being held up, and maybe Jim can expand. That's about it. They, we were discussing it at finance, and they usually have the Indians might have people that sit out there and watch for bones, burial grounds, when the project is going on, but this has happened way after the fact, and it's done. So they feel pretty confident that they'll be able to handle it. It's just another time element we're gonna have to work through. So that's basically it. Always something. So,
It's not unusual actually for projects that, and actually it's pretty much all over the county, but particularly in this area, wine country. If they're doing any digging, there needs to be a representative there to look at it and to keep an eye on it. Apparently that wasn't done. project is over, so we'll see what happens. And there's still 600,000 pending, which is,
Do we get our 5% interest on that while they're holding?
If I could add, that is, I don't know if you remember, but there was one point where I said that was the last obstacle, and they have a public notice period, where they talk to all the tribes, so. Our environmental process definitely let them know, so that's shock for me to hear
They're
that.
just a little late on it.
Someone didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
it's worthwhile remembering it for potential projects in the
Future, yeah.
So,
No kind of estimated timeframe they
I
can.
asked them, and she goes, a few months,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Long time.
real exact.
Yeah.
so that's the extent of our discussions with finance. Do you have anything else on that?
That was basically it.
Very good. Last committee report, SB 415. The current status right now is within the state controller's office. What they have done is referred the matter, of course, to legal counsel. And of course, the CSD and our legal counsel are keeping a thumb on this process. And we will continue to keep everybody informed in terms of our progress. Haven't given up the fight yet. Okay. All righty, agenda N, general manager's report. Ms. Raymond.
There's a few items here. One of the things I'm gonna mention in just a moment, one of the projects we're working on is a new website. We hired a new firm, and Jessica, that's kind of her domain. And so at the next meeting a month from tonight, we'd like everybody to dress their Sunday best.
Wear high
We
heels.
need pictures of the board, and we're gonna just take pictures. In fact, Teresa's
My,
some relation to you.
my daughter-in-law has a photographer, she's gonna come in and shoot everybody. You only have to be nice to like your, that's it.
Remind us when you send in the memo.
Okay.
So anyway, you're gonna be on the website, so, we're gonna do different photographs and see what comes up, right? And then also, we really should, in historical files or whatever, you know, have this periodically, most cities and all, again, this stuff, which does it. So like, probably we'll just, since we're gonna do that on the website, every December, every other year is the new board. So I think we'll just get in the habit of doing pictures then, but we gotta catch up. So anyway, I'm just giving you a warning and ability to split for the door if you don't want to have your mug shot taken.
Okay, and that's why I'm giving you haircut. Okay.
Second, the CSDA annual meeting is coming up and we didn't get any takers, so it looks like it's just gonna be Ward and I, for 3 weeks or whatever. So we'll be doing that, and I'll make sure I send everybody I can think of to his booth so he can give them his sales pitch. Right. So, let's see. Other than that, that's what I have. I was gonna hit on weed abatement, but I think that got pretty well. Generally, we only work like 5 feet from edge of pavement, but when, you know, this is a one-time thing. You hopefully we're not gonna get rains like this every single year. But you never know. And so, yeah, as Gina mentioned, it's really a necessity. So engineering committee thought that was a good idea. So anyway, just keep cutting weeds, guys. Finally, once every year or so, I need to figure out what the accomplishments have been in the last year. And so I'm a month or so late fiscal year or whatever, but you have before you a couple of sheets. And I just thought, this isn't my accomplishments, this is what the district accomplished. So we just, everybody in the office helped and actually edited this a little bit for me. Because you forget, you move on and then you forget, you know, what was done. So I just thought briefly, you have this now in writing, but perhaps we could just kind of quickly go through and some of them might be able to clarify or embellish on them or whatever. But
Okay.
the one thing we've all been using, a couple of years ago, we didn't even know about Zoom. We didn't have these presentations. We didn't have all the pictures. And now with cell phones being what they are, every day I get at least one email from something these guys have done. And now with the drain inspections, it's amazing. I mean, what it looks like. This is our property, right? And so if I want to know about, somebody calls in about drain 238, I have it. And now it's going into our file box, which is called GIS, which is satellite. And so we'll be able to use our GIS. And a couple of times in the meeting, we don't have file cabinets anymore. And I remember 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we're gonna start moving away from filing cabinets, moving away from paper, scanning everything. That started with the new IT, ASUS, you know,
Cloud.
and clouds and all this stuff. And we didn't really know a lot about whether it was gonna work or not. But if you walk around here in the office, you don't see file cabinets anymore. There's some relics out in the garage. But yeah, it came up in a couple reports about how this information is in the GIS or in the cloud. So we have arrived. We talked about it and, you know, spent money. In fact, in the coffee room, there's a big box hanging way up on the wall. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed it, but that's essentially, well, we have a cloud, which one is in Colorado and another in Chicago, Arizona, right? So the minute you type a document, say hit save, it goes Arizona, Illinois, and then comes back to that box. That's the ultimate backup. So if that cloud and all that goes down, which it did last week for about a day, we could run it off here. And one of these days, when I'm too nervous to do this, yeah, fire drill kind of thing, and tell our IT people, shut us down on the cloud and turn that thing on. Let's see what we got.
Yeah.
Because in my company, we had, you know, the old kind that you put the cassettes.
Yeah.
We left 3 days of work. And they kept putting in the cassette, you know, for Thursday. Oh, guys, gotta do it all over again yesterday, Wednesday. I mean, my accountants would cry, you know, every day. They had to redo all that work. So anyway, at some point we are gonna do that. But anyhow, so, but just listening to the pattern here tonight, some terms were used that we didn't know 4 years ago, you know, and now they're real. So anyhow, we talked about the website, and that's a work in progress right now, but within a few months we should have that. We've Teresa's been cross-training with Jessica and Isabel to some extent, so that we have larger capabilities finance-wise. And if somebody's sick or whatever, we can still get out payroll or, you know, whatever. Then you've noticed the office improvements that we've completed. And the main reason that we have committee meetings in the, what's, I guess you'd say, my office slash conference room, is because this machine is a couple of years old, so it's already dated technology. And so now that we're so married to this, and that's the way we do things, now we have a backup. So if this went down, they can just take that bar from the office and put it in back there. So, and then, you know, it's a smaller room, so we can use it for committee meetings. We're still working. Oh, the one thing I'm so proud of, I've been terrified. because a lot of the improvements around here have just been done over the years. We don't know who built that wall, okay? And when we were working in the office, I don't know if it's coincidence or not, the fire marshal walks in. And, oh, no. So they accepted it. Everything more that legalizes, you know, our tenant improvements here in this building that we own. And then they wanted some things done. So we had a contractor on site. And I said, well, I'm amending your contract to get this done now. This has got to be done first. And so it was all done to their satisfaction and we were signed off. So we have a legal building now. But when I came here, I remember my predecessor telling me that this building has been modified over the years, you know, and who knows, you know,
Right.
I don't see any permits on the wall. So we now have one hanging somewhere, so. We've instituted a new purchasing policy. You've heard about the recycle program and remember back that it was some strategy in play, how we were going to deal with the rural exemption that the law said we were entitled to, but Cal Recycle said, why anyway, which what I was telling him is, you know, 5 out of 6, they just said, forget it. And that's why they do it. They know agencies do that. The law says one thing, Congress or the legislature says one thing, and then the bureaucrats say, well, we'll just give them a hard enough time. They'll comply. They'll do our way. So we're not, and we'll see where we go. But and it looks like it's going good. So anyway, we instituted a new purchasing policy. We mentioned the T-bills. We got through first year with the new CPA, and that involved, we had to make a lot of changes. I mean, yeah, a lot for us. Got to do it their way, modernize some of the ways we think, how we close the books. And it did result in much more efficiency because they collapsed the zones. So I don't know that is going to, you know, be a huge efficiency, but at least we're moving in that direction and they're on our side. So, I mean, basically Teresa had to make an accounting entry 6 times, you know, for each zone. That's a lot of work over the course of the year, you know, so FEMA, we're at the 2.8 level. And with FEMA, there's 2 things. One is to get it obligated, which basically means that they have committed to giving us those funds. So they come along and they say, so this project was about 3.1 million. That's what we asked for when in 2019, when that storm hit. We have now gotten them to agree that when it's all said and done, we'll get at least 2.8 million. But you take it one step at a time. So another thing that happened this year is we got 450,000 obligated. And what that was is basically
The environmental audit getting.
yeah, so they threw us into an environmental audit and said, well, your environmental work for the work at Sandy Creek, we want to make sure that you have done it 100% complete. So they basically sent us a letter and said, so 450,000 were audited. So again, another strategic thing is go back to the people that we paid 150,000 to, the environmental people, and let them do the appeal to the environmentalists, and they were in Washington, D.C. And just we stayed out of it. Ron kind of set it up, but we let them do it. So environmentalists to environmentalists, and 3 months later, they said, here's your 450. And so everything's rocking along just fine, except the Chonga now. It's 2 years behind. There's nowhere to go sit and collect money or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about it. So that's where I say we're at the 2.8 million mark. There's still additional monies that haven't been obligated that we're working for. So, I think that number is gonna go a little bit higher. But the whole thing is 3.1. So, but that's a lot of work that got done for, the roads and the roofs. And we've done more because Buena Vista, they could not get the people at the time. This goes back to the storm of 15 or 17. FEMA never would approve that. So, but then Sandy Creek in 2019 completely washed away, okay? So that and Buena Vista had been rejected by FEMA, but we were able to get them to look again at Sandy Creek under the 19 storm, and they accepted it. So we're paying right now, it's your cash, okay, that's paid for Buena Vista. Where Sandy Creek, Beaver Carroll, 58 other places, we're all 80 some or 85%. You heard about Buena Vista. Well, I just start working with our field crew to try to, we're reorganizing the field operations to kind of raise the bar on what we're able to handle in-house. And you heard about one earlier in the meeting. We're, rather than contracting it out, because the prices were too high, these three are gonna get out there and get something done to do that repair. So in the past, I say it was more like a concierge service. Keeping the bushes off the road and keeping the tumbleweed down in the storm drains, that kind of thing. And that's all we had the equipment for. That's really all we did. But the cost of bringing the contractor out every single time, we're spending a lot of money. And if we could, we're trying this, and you more or less approved, moving in that direction. So we're gonna give it a try. And it's a little bit more trickier than I thought in making this happen for lots of, you always run into a roadblock here, roadblock there, things you hadn't thought of, didn't know. So we're just gonna step through it in the next 6 months until the rainy season and see how far we get. And then we needed some additional equipment, so you're gonna be looking at that in a few minutes. So, and the one thing too I wanted to point out, at some point, I think when we did this, the GIS, which I've already talked about, but it even surprised me when I saw this in writing. We have a system, and there's a map of the district, and that shows on the screen. And then you pick the layer that you want to be in. So if I want road maintenance, I see these dots of every place they work during, say, a month or whatever period I want. And they're in different colors, which means different kind of ones of asphalt and ones of this, ones of that. But we also are permitting if people who need permits, like driveways and things like that. Then we have another one for culverts. It's all 700 of them. And if you click on a dot, like if you came in, but I want to know where the storm drain in by my house, we could just pull that up. We could tap the dot, and it'll show that drain by Debbie's house, okay? And then by these inspections we've been making, it's all photographic. You can see like a history of what that thing looks like every season. So if you came in and said, I think my culvert is plugged up, we can see when we looked at it last and what the condition was. We can say, well, it was clean 2 months ago. Look, there's a picture. And then we can go out and photograph it. So anyway, over time, I think that it's going to be invaluable. And now we've added signs, as Steve mentioned. And of course, we have all the information about each parcel which we get from the county assessor's office, who owns it, and size of it and all that. And then we've got the roadway rehab history, all the photos and everything, and the exact locations of where we've done rehab projects. And then going way back, the paper information about the condition of the road 7 years ago, which someday we will probably want to update that. But anyway, that's a lot of information in that. So anyway, that's a kind of a summary. So we've had a good year. And everybody's been busy. It's amazing, and it kind of cuts across all different aspects of what we do. So, anyway, good job, everybody.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Then moving along, legal counsel matters, Mr. Simmons.
Going to begin the process of the general manager evaluation. And so in a couple of days, we'll be getting a fax in the mail, maybe not till early next week. And this will be new we didn't do it last year because we had a new contract. So in a couple of years, some of you probably haven't done this before, but it's just basically a sheet with some questions on it. You can fill it out, send it back to me, and then I pull it up and give it to the committee for the evaluation, and we'll come back next month and talk about it in closed session.
And if they have any questions.
Yes,
Call
give me
them.
give me a call if you have any questions.
Okay.
I have my number on the letter.
Very good. Okay. Wow. That was nice and easy. Now we're going to get to the fun stuff, right? Just about it. Okay, thank you, everyone. This meeting is now adjourned into the garage area, right? Yes.